Hello people, welcome to my video on the theory that Ganon has destroyed the Master Sword. We will take a detailed look at the Zelda timeline and when and where the Master Sword has been destroyed. Keep in mind that through this whole video I will only be focused on the official Zelda timeline and not in the order that the games were released. Now, let's begin. The Master Sword, the Holy Blade, is as much part of the Zelda franchise as is Link, or Zelda, herself. It has been with us for the most part of our Zelda gaming experience. Whenever the big, bad, Ganon rises, there is always Link, with his trusty Master Sword, coming to save the day. After all, it is only the Master Sword that can stop someone that has a piece of the Triforce in him. The origins of the Master Sword can be placed right at the beginning of the Zelda timeline, with the game Skyward Sword, where it was crafted by the goddess Hylia herself to counter the evil of the man that holds the third piece of the Triforce. Going into battle against Ganon's predecessor, Demise, Link has emerged victoriously in part due to the powers of the Master Sword. Since then the Master Sword has been featured in most Zelda games where the Triforce of Power, and its holder Ganon, have come into play. While being excluded from games where the main villain does not possess the power of the Triforce. Games like the Minish Cap, Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Trek, and so forth. The very next game in the Zelda timeline to include Ganon was The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. The game would also include Ganon's main weakness, the Master Sword. This is where things get a little bit tricky, with the Ocarina of Time timeline branching off into three possible outcomes of the final fight. The first possible outcome is the adult Link era. In this era we see Ganon rise to power in the Wind Waker, only to be stopped by Link and the Master Sword. For the child Link era we see the same trend. Ganon rises to power in both the Twilight Princess and in the Four Swords, only to be put down, once again, by the Master Sword and Link. Finally we've come to the last possible branch of the timeline. The branch where the Master Sword disappears. The branch where the hero of time, Link, is killed by Ganon at the end of Ocarina of Time. Even with Link's defeat the sages managed to seal Ganon in the Sacred Realm before he could get his hands on the Master Sword. The next two games, A Link to the Past and The Oracle of Seasons and Ages, follow the very same storyline as their predecessor. Ganon rises to power and is killed, once again, by the Master Sword. This is the very last time that we'll ever seen the Master Sword in this timeline. The last two games in the series also see the revival of Ganon. Yet this time there was no Master Sword to help Link. Not in The Legend of Zelda, and not in The Adventure of Link. Where was the Holy Blade? Where did it go? Somewhere between the Oracle of Seasons and Ages and the original Legend of Zelda, all traces of the Master Sword have disappeared. Link's awakening begins as you have triumphed over Ganon. With your Master Sword still at hand you set sail for the high seas. Months of difficult travel passed. After a long and fruitful voyage, you breathed deeply the sea spray from the deck of the ship that carried you back home to Hyrule. But your homecoming was not to be. Suddenly a squall struck your ship, and though you valiantly fought the waves, a lightning bolt reduced your ship to splinters. When a real lightning bolt strikes, the worst it can do is set the ship on fire. Not blow it all up to splinters. There is only one person that can wield a lightning bolt that is strong enough to blow a person away. After the attack Link is put in a coma. When he wakes up he has no sword and no shield. The very same Master Sword that you have had with you when you left Hyrule is now gone. Taken away and destroyed by the man with the lightning strike.